in a certain sense, each of our teaching is maybe proven or borne out by our mode of living, or not. Maybe there's some decoupling there, but you find in her case that is true, or that is told forth after having thought and written about the vocation of a woman. You see a kind of nobility and a kind of courage which characterizes the end of her days. So she, the Dutch bishops wrote a letter condemning Nazi practices, upon which the Nazis responded by seeking out and detaining and eventually killing Christians of Jewish extraction, among whom she was numbered. So like we said, she had been in Cologne, but then she was moved to a Carmelite monastery in Echt in Limburg in what is now the Netherlands. And her blood sister was there also, Rosa, not as a Carmelite, but as like a kind of lay cooperator. And they came for both of them on August 2nd, 1942. Yeah. And apparently Edith Stein said, or St. Teresa Benedicta of the Cross says, like, come, we are going for our people. And I guess there's some debate as to who our people are there, but it would seem the most straightforward reading would be the Jewish people, with whom she continued to identify to the end of her days. She was taken to a first transit camp and then a second transit camp, Westerbork transit camp. And the accounts testify that, like many people there, had just kind of lost their minds. They had gone crazy by virtue of their terror and grief, which is obviously to be understood. But she described like her vocation in that camp as kind of coming to term or coming to full fruition. She said, "So far, I prayed and worked. From now on, I will work and pray." There's one of like the men who was there at the camp who testified to the fact that she was calm and composed throughout. And while like various mothers had kind of abandoned their children to their fate because they themselves were wholly overwrought with their grief, St. Teresa Benedicta of the Cross was tending to the children, like she was mothering like these children whose mothers had kind of abandoned them. She wrote a note to her prioress from Westerbork Transit Camp asking for the next volume of the breviary so that she can continue with her daily prayers. And then she says, by way of sign-off, "So far I've been able to pray gloriously."
Yeah.
They were from Westerbork. They were loaded onto trains and taken to Auschwitz. She passed through the region around Breslau, and specifically at the stop at Schifferstadt, she saw on the train platform one of her former students. And she asked her student to give a message to the sisters. And she said, "Tell them I'm going to the East," which obviously, as far as like concrete details go, isn't especially helpful. But when you think about the fact that East is where the garden lies, where Christ returns from, the place of the movement of the celestial spheres, she's going to heaven, please God. And then, when she arrived at Auschwitz, she was summarily executed.
Yeah, it was very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's not much testimony from that.
It's not like Maximilian Kolbe where you have a cell. You can go to with the candle and this sort of thing. She was actually executed on the larger, so this Auschwitz II, over across the street, a little bit far from where Maximilian Kolbe was. But we have no.
She's taken to a gas chamber and killed with prussic acid. Yeah. But even there, the guards who unloaded her from the train again testified to her calm and her composure. She was the only one, they said, who did not appear completely crazed.
Yeah.
So there's something
and
there.
They're waiting when John Paul, of course, canonized her in 2000
something.
But when to come, or beatification, I suppose, when you would come out with the colors. Is that when you'd come out it's 93, I think. But whether it would be red or white, right? And he chose red. To martyr for the faith, and in a sense, for her people too. Leaving that ambiguous.
And he said of her that she was a true daughter of Israel.
Father Gregory, say something in Latin.
Oremus pro invicem.
Father Gregory, say something in French.
Moi, je m'appelle Grégoire.
Father Gregory, say something in German.
Ich bin hier, einen Podcast aufzunehmen.
Father Gregory, say something.
Something.
Subscribe to Godsplaining.